Okay, it looks like the dragons have resorted to photobombing the air shows, where they intentionally get in the frame. What you're going to see, I'm going to point it out for you here real quick with the pencil. Right about here, you'll see a UAP dragon. It comes up this way and then crosses right over the nose of that jet. They're both going to the right, but he slows down to the speed of the jet and then hits the gas and takes off again. Check this out. Here he comes, right there. He's slowing down to the speed of the jet, swooping up, crossing the nose of the jet, and taking off again. One more time. Here he comes. Swoops up toward the jet, and then takes off again. I described exactly this scene happening in a video made 2 months ago called F-16 Gets Face Slapped by UFO Swarms at Military Bases. Let's just watch the first couple of minutes of this video.
Air jets are having troubling aerial encounters in Arizona's restricted air combat training areas, which fits with a broader trend, according to a new report from the war zone. Pilots are reportedly encountering small, unidentified objects, sometimes in a swarm-like group of as many as 8. They're also seeing sightings of other objects, including some characterized as drones, flying at altitudes up to 36,000 feet and as fast as Mach 0.75. Another apparent small drone hitting the canopy of an F-16 Viper causing damage. These incidents and many more all occurred in or around various military air combat training ranges in Arizona since January of 2020, according to Warzone.
These events are described in reports from the Federal Aviation Administration filed over roughly a 3-year period. And all of this, of course, comes as Congress just heard historic testimony on UAPs or unidentified aerial phenomenon. Jess, what in the world is going on here?
Aliens. It's aliens. Either that or they've recreated alien technology based on the spacecraft that they have.
So this didn't get too much coverage. I didn't see it too many places, and I think it's because we've already been saturated over the last month with UAP, UFO, government disclosure, yeah, show me the evidence. But it's escalated now from a sighting here and a sighting there and hearsay to these FAA reports where they report them in swarms, not individuals, and bouncing off the windshield of the F-16 fighter jet. The canopy is the glass part that goes over the cabin. And I have a feeling it wasn't an accidental collision. And the fighter pilot would know this if they swooped up from behind and matched your speed for a minute and then tapped you on the glass and took off as a demonstration of superiority. And they say they're seeing them in swarms, up to 8. Maybe they just don't mention that there's thousands of swarms. So they're going to the air shows in order to photobomb the center of attention where they know all these people are going to be looking up at these airplanes that are performing their maneuvers with their cameras and essentially photobombing it, jumping in the middle of the frame where they know people's cameras are focused. And when I say who controls the dragons controls the world, that's not hyperbole. When I say this conflict that we're seeing develop is going to include DEWs, directed energy, and dragons, because lightning is faster than missiles and dragons are faster than fighter jets. But as we're seeing here, it's like you can't go to an air show and film these planes without these UAP dragons flying through the frame. Watch this one more time and give another little quick commentary and then try and wrap it up and make it a short video.
Super, here we go, air show, Santa Maria, look at this dragon. I slowed it down to 3%.
That's one.
To me,
There's number 2, that's a completely different dragon at a different angle, and here goes number 3, from right to left. That's 3 different dragons. Here's the first one, goes behind the plane. That's the same one, the first one that goes behind the plane. Here he shows you the jet and he doesn't say much of it. Look, you can see it from the bottom, dropping in, coming up, and then crossing the nose of the plane, just like that fighter pilot said he got hit on the canopy. Looks like they did it again right there. And here he's showing you where he got this video from, this guy with 36 subscribers. So here's one pass. These are 3 different UAP Dragon shots at this air show. That's one. Here comes a completely different one. There you go. And here comes a third one from right to left on the upper right corner. And then he's going to show the jet one more time. And he doesn't mention much about the jet because when you can see that this one is slowing down to the speed of the jet, he's ahead of the jet. He starts out up here, and by this point he's slowed down, and he's right here. And then he slows down some more, comes up, and speeds up and hits the gas and goes off in that direction. He's intentionally slowing down to the speed of the jet and then hitting the gas again as he crosses the line of collision, the path of the jet. Slowing down, going to the left in comparison to the jet. Now he's going up. Now he's going to the right in comparison to the jet. So he was going faster and was in front of the jet. And then he speeds up. I just want to make sure you guys can see this. If he's over here, they're both going to the right. They're both going in the same direction. But when he starts out over here in front of the jet and drops back over here, that means he's slowing down his relative airspeed compared to the jet, comes up, and then increases his airspeed and takes off in front of the jet again. That shows it's intentional. And who controls the dragons controls the world means whoever's controlling these dragons is not the same people that are in control of these fighter jets, or they would not be demonstrating and displaying their superiority in a public arena. And essentially, for those who notice, they are humiliating the jets and how impressive their capabilities are. Therefore, if it was the same people who own the jets and the dragons, they wouldn't be making this demonstration in full display in front of everyone at an air show. So let's watch this one more time. Here it comes from the bottom right, slowing down, coming up, taps the jet on the canopy right there, and takes off in front of him again. That other previous video of mine that I referenced was from 2 months ago. This one is from 2 weeks ago.
No, I have some bonus footage I want to share with you guys going back to the video we did a couple of days ago that involved these jets that were flying in formation. Captain Dave noticed this black object that did appear in the video as the jets were flying through the sky. I had zoomed in on that and there were wings flapping up and down. That was a bird that was closer to the viewer than it was to the airplanes. I'm heavily zoomed in on the airplanes right here. So I did inspect that, Dave, and that was a bird with moving wings. A great.
So in that video from 2 weeks ago, Mr. MB3 says, "Oh, that was just a bird. Yeah, I saw what it looked like it had wings, so it must have been a bird." In this video, he shows you something where he clearly acknowledges there's no chance that's a bird, and it's the same exact object. Swarms, up to 8. Maybe they just don't mention that there's thousands of swarms, and they just operate in these smaller groups, just like our military does. A team of 6 or 8. Even amongst a larger number of troops, smaller divisions, tactical operations, they break up into teams of 6 or 8, even though there's thousands of them in the sky. And they're doing this over our home turf at our own training facility in restricted airspace. There is no greater demonstration of superiority to show that resistance is futile. And on that subject, I'll include 2 links in the description if you want to keep up on this continuing discovery and disclosure process. 2 videos that I've made, one titled We're Surrounded by the Borg Swarm, Assimilation is Imminent, Resistance is Futile, where Mr. MB3 is showing these UAP dragons that Custodian Files has documented extensively with hundreds of videos showing the repetition. And he's got it down to a science of when, where, and how to spot these things over Marina del Rey in California. Every time an aircraft hits 150 feet, it gets tagged by one of these small drone-like aircraft that they're describing that are almost 100% certainly the same exact type of craft. The ones that are bouncing off the windshield of the fighter jets and the ones that Custodian Files is documenting extensively, and that Deadeye Customs has thousands and thousands of on his YouTube channel. Deadeye Customs is all still frames from in the clouds in the sky around his house. Custodian Files is all videos as they zip by and tag these aircraft over Marina del Rey. But Mr. MB3 a few weeks back got in on the act.
Vancouver, Washington. Here we go. This is some incredible footage. I'm telling you, I had to slow this down to 1 frame per second. Right here it goes. You're going to see a black object here in a minute. I have to zoom in really tight. It's not a bird, I can assure you that. This thing's moving way too fast. It goes over the left wing of the plane, as you're going to see here in just a minute. This thing was moving so fast, I'm assuming probably 500-600 mile an hour in this frame right here, maybe faster. You know the plane was moving at about 100 miles per hour? This thing makes the plane look like it's sitting still. This is at 1 frame per second. Look at how fast that thing's still going. That is not a bird. That's not anywhere near the viewer. Doesn't change shape. Doesn't have any flapping wings or anything like that. That's a black object in broad daylight, moving at an incredible rate of speed. I don't know how he noticed this. He noticed it in the...
I'll also include the link to the video titled Dragon Army of AI Drones, where I cover most of the material that I have on this subject matter. In the description of Dragon Army of AI Drones, multiple videos on the subject, one from Custodian Files, one from the Woodbury fire where Mr. MB3 passively shows you one of these craft hovering above the smoke at the Woodbury fire. But he doesn't explicitly point it out to the viewer, yet he throws it into inverted mode, and you don't need it thrown into inverted mode with some contrast added to see the giant smoke cloud behind him. He's trying to draw your attention to the craft that's hovering above the smoke cloud. Plasma-powered Thunderbird source video, where I recorded these stationary, hovering in the sky above my head for the first 50 seconds of the video, and then the next video is with zoom and contrast, where I isolate and zoom in on some of these craft. There's about 15 of them in the sky right there in the plasma-powered Thunderbird source video. 3 of them are visible the whole time. And then some others on the same subject, how cubes and spheres influence, it's supposed to be celestial cubes and spheres, influence winter fire season. Stairway in the Sky by Joe Imbriano, the original video where at 9 minutes 31 seconds he has one of these things zip by and it affects his camera like the radiation. It throws an electromagnetic pulse that makes the whole camera glitch as it flies by. And then UAP over military base is where I zoom in and isolate the craft that flies by. ShadowCraft and Cloud Tenders by Deadeye Customs. A great example of his work where he shows you hundreds and thousands of these things just stationary in the clouds. All you got to do is take a picture and zoom in and you can see them floating all over. Riders on the Storm, Stellar Core Space Force God's Army, Invisible Anti-Gravity Craft Part 1 and 2. But just to recap the latest developments that seem to have flown under the radar, pun intended, they are now seeing them in swarms, or they have been for years, according to these FAA reports that go back to January of 2020. There's probably many reports before then. They are now infiltrating our airspace at our own training facilities and slapping our fighter pilots on the windshield as they fly by, like giving you the bird. but it is a very non-violent, non-hostile, and aggressive and threatening way of demonstrating superiority. Imagine a couple kids standing at the edge of a corral saying, I dare you to run up and slap that bull on the forehead and then keep running and hop the fence over the other side. That's approximately what they did. They say that it hit the canopy of the fighter jet. That's the glass bubble that goes over top of the cabin. That wasn't an accident. That was intentional, in my opinion. And they say it did damage. Maybe that damage was like etching and engraving using sonic and lasers to draw a little image on the front windshield for the fighter pilot to see. And because I've tried to make this video a couple times, I'm not sure if this attempt included the reciting that this came from FAA reports that were obtained by the War Room, a news outlet ran by Steve Bannon, in response to their FOIA requests, their Freedom of Information Act requests for information on the subject, returned FAA reports of these swarms of drone-like craft bouncing off the windshield of the F-16. Just business as usual in the time of the apocalypse, and business is good. So as you can see in that video, Mr. MB3 acknowledges that's not a bird, that's much farther from the camera. That's doing 500-600 miles an hour at least. Yet it's the same exact object as he shows you over here and says, oh, that's just a bird. Yeah, there's wings, must be a bird. He is very skillfully and artistically presenting this, putting it in front of the people for them to see. Those fighter jets that he's about to show you are just something that he threw into a video without any real context in order that someone would see the black dot zipping by, bring it to his attention, and he can say, oh yeah, Johnny over there. Johnny noticed the black dot, and that's just a bird. Here, let me show you guys again. So you've seen it, and eventually after you've seen it enough times, it's no longer threatening. Once you've seen it enough times, it's been in your presence for long enough, you no longer see it as a threat. But until you've been acclimated, we'll keep telling you it's just a bird, it's probably just a bug, blah, blah, blah. Mr. MB3 is part of this disclosure. They call it soft disclosure. That's the reason for the incremental disclosure, acclimating you to your new environment. But until you've become acclimated, it's necessary to tell you, oh, that's probably just a bird. Yeah, I saw wings, it's just a bird. Until you've seen hundreds of them and you know they're not birds, then it's like, oh yeah, well maybe they're not birds. Huh.
No, I have some bonus footage I want to share with you guys, going back to the video we did a couple of days ago that involved these jets that were flying in formation. Captain Dave noticed this black object that did appear in the video as the jets were flying through the sky. I had zoomed in on that, and there were wings flapping up and down. That was a bird that was closer to the viewer than it was to the airplanes. I'm heavily zoomed in on the airplanes right here. So I did inspect that, Dave, and that was a bird with moving wings. But great observations.
Okay, this video is not for people who think these are bugs or birds or bats because they appear to have wings. This video is not to convince them that they're not birds, bugs, and bats. If you want to learn, all you got to do is watch Custodian Files video. Start with the most recent one, work your way back, and after you've done about 4, 5, 6 videos, you'll be to the point where you know that what he's filming are not bugs and birds. The guy's got credentials. He is authorized to give presentations on these UAP Dragons at the Air Force Base. And he's the only civilian that's authorized to do that. You could say, well, he's lying. Everything's fake. But he also says he has a medical patent and he started the first online pharmacy. He's well established. He's not a YouTuber trying to get YouTube clout. He's a one-issue YouTuber, and his one issue is these UAP Dragons. I'm pretty sure he used to be in the Air Force. So he kind of blurs the line between the military-industrial complex. He's on the industrial side. He's a private citizen, a civilian, who goes in and gives presentations to the military about these UAP Dragons, as he calls them. But Mr. MB3 here says, I zoomed in and I saw wings flapping up and down. That means it was a bird. Do you see any wings?
Mr. MB3 here is also helping move the Overton window to a place of understanding. So he's exposing people to these while saying, but it's just a bird because I saw wings. I am going to cover some more that appear to have wings. When you've watched enough of Custodian Files videos, you come to a point where...
Okay, links will be in the description for anyone who wants to look any further into this. There's plenty of resource reference material. Links are in the description. But the fact that they keep hitting the air shows is very telling.
All right, let's go there. Super, here we go. Air show, Santa Maria. Look at this. Look at this dragon. I slowed it down to 3%. To me, it looked like it went behind the aircraft. Let me play that again and really slow it down here. This was right there. I'm going to, there's the contrast. There we go. I'll give you the IP. This was, by the way, this was sent to me from a viewer. I don't remember his name. I'm sorry about that. Juggling too many things here. But this is what happens. You just watch airshow videos on YouTube. You will see these small UAPs. There's the IP. There's the timeline. You can look it up. This video here, there must be like 5 tags. But this one I like the best because it appears to me that it did go behind it right there. And what can I say? That's some pretty good video.
Here's the clue. If it goes behind the airplane, it cannot be a bug that's just super close to the camera. That's why that matters so much, that it went behind the airplane. That's why he's emphasizing that. For the people that keep wanting to say these are bugs and birds, when it goes behind the airplane, that's not possible, that it's a bug or a bird up close to the camera, and that's why it looks like it's moving faster than the airplane. He has many other of these examples because all of his videos are showing these UAPs buzzing other aircraft. He's got at least 5 other examples where it goes behind the aircraft and thus cannot be a bug or a bird closer to the camera, creating an optical illusion that it's moving faster than the aircraft. When it goes behind the aircraft, that shows it's out there at a distance and moving faster than the aircraft. Just wanted to clarify that for people that didn't catch that and know what that means.
Like it. So search YouTube. If you're a super serious researcher on YouTube, email me and I'll instruct you on how to find these dragons 500% easier. If you're a serious researcher, reach out to custodianfile@gmail.com. All right, until the next video, please remember to like, subscribe, comment. I appreciate you sharing your valuable time with me. And stay safe. Thank you for watching. Bye-bye.